Hey, what's going on, guys? Your man CGOD back again. 2008 Harley Davidson Electric Glide Ultra Classic. So today, front end is starting to come back together, right? So we got some fork boots here. Peep them and weep, you know what I mean? We went ahead and I let these bake for about a week, you know, in my basement. Just hung them in my closet, let them cook, you know what I mean? So we're going to be installing the fork boots back on the front end here and mocking up the fender and stuff. And I'm trying to figure out exactly how much travel I have out of these forks, right? That way we can kind of figure out how much bump stop we need, so that no matter what, our fender won't ever smack, right? Because we got this right here, which is pretty deadly, right? Which is like the brake line. And then we've also got our crash bar here. Both of those items will indeed rock this fender. You know what I mean? So we're trying to eliminate that. So basically I got these, and these are not the expensive ones, believe it or not. They are a pretty nice piece though. Let me go ahead and pull one out, maybe. Oh yeah. So as you can see, they are notched, or whatever you want to call that, for the fender to slide through. So there's one, and then let me pull the other one out. Sorry about it. Man, they don't want to come out though. Alright, so it comes with new hardware too, and these bolts look rather long, so I may be able to get away with just the bolts being used as bump stops, but I suppose we'll find out, right? I'm going to go ahead and mock them up, and then after we get those bolted into position, then we should be able to install our forks. And I'm going to install them with no oil, no springs, no nothing, right? That way I can see physically how high it'll go up. You know what I mean? We'll kind of like mock the fender on the forks, the whole nine, you know what I mean? So I'm going to go ahead and bolt on these fork boots, and from there I'll bring you guys back. Actually, I'm probably going to put the fork boots on because it's just two bolts, you know what I mean? And then I'll slide the tubes up in there and tighten them up a little bit, and then I'll bring you guys back. Alright? Damn, dude, it's coming out player. So we got the fender bolted into position, right? And basically this is full droop, you know, suspension all the way down, right? Now check me out, boys. So we go to lift it up, and it physically, you know what I'm saying? We hit metal. Look, check out my clearance, watch. Alright, so look, we'll go ahead and see if we can focus her. Maybe. Damn, it got worse. Alright, well either way, look. Alright, so hella clearance. Back here in the back off the crash bar, we got about a finger. So that is sick, dude. What I ended up doing is the bolts for these are actually quite long. So I'm pretty sure that is the sound you're hearing, right? So it's basically kind of like a bump stop, you know what I mean? I was gonna put some rubber ones, but I mean, there's no point considering that's as low as it'll go right there. You know what I mean? So let me look at the size of the stock bolts. So these are the original ones, and with the original ones, I'm pretty sure it'll allow you to go ahead and hit the crash bar. And the material here is also much thinner. You know what I mean? Like this is super thin walled. So basically, instead of using bump stops or anything, we're just going to run our fork boots here. And these fork boots with the extended bolts, it's just going to be banging bolts. You know what I mean? But physically impossible for it to hit anything, boys. That's perfect, dude. So we got a progressive drop-in kit that we're going to use, as well as some heavy-duty fork oil, like 20 weight. The idea, though, mainly is to also not bang the fender, but I don't want to be banging those bolts either necessarily, you know what I mean? Like on a super hard bump or whatever, then I'll accept it, you know? Same thing happened with the Softail. The forks were maxing out before anything would hit. You know what I'm saying? So basically, like, even if I had air suspension or whatever, that is as low as it would go. You know what I'm saying? So we got plenty of clearance all the way around for this girl. That is awesome, dude. And our forks obviously are all the way up mounted. You know what I mean? I'm gonna have to pull them out. I'm gonna have to disassemble all this anyways to put the suspension in. But man, that's cool, boys. That means we're getting somewhere. You know what I mean? Like, look, you can already kind of picture what we got going on here. Big Daddy apes coming out the top. We got the forks painted now. We got the boots on. You know what I mean? No more of this stock stuff. Look at that. That's not cool. You know what I mean? And then the fact that they come in raw aluminum on the lowers, that's just whack, you know what I mean? But man, she's coming together, boys. That's sick, dude. So, eBay for the win. I know there's another company that makes these, you know what I'm saying? I'm not going to lie to you. These are like replicas of those. But they look damn good. They have the recess for the fender. So, I mean, you can see fender clearance. You know what I mean? Like, we got plenty of it. You see what I'm saying? Both sides, fender clears, no problems. So we're gonna throw on the Progressive 2-inch kit from here, and I mean it should be pretty gosh darn solid, I think. So yeah, that's gonna be next up on the list. We got the fork boots on. I'm gonna go ahead and disassemble it all again, pull the forks back out, and then we're gonna go ahead and slap in our suspension and add oil, you know what I'm saying? And then we'll assemble this for the final time again. Once I get everything all completed, that's probably whenever I'll go ahead and, you know, finish up the fairing and stuff. But for the most part, boys, I want to say the front end is coming along. It's basically done, you know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna lie to you, it's kind of intimidating, you know, having the fairing and all this stuff, you know. It's like obviously like the biggest bike I've had or whatever. But it's coming together, let me tell you. So from here, we're almost to the finish line. Let me get up and get on it. Yeet. Alright, so here we've got our Progressive suspension 2-inch drop-in kit. As per the instructions, we're basically going to go ahead and just drop them in, you know what I mean? I'm not going to use any PVC spacer or nothing like that. I do intend on using the... it comes with a little compensator spring, which is like a soft spring, right? We're going to go ahead and run that. I got my little jar out here, and I believe it's supposed to take like 11 point something ounces, so I'm going to put like 12, you know what I mean? And we'll see where the fluid's at from there. But I do want it to be, you know, somewhat stiff. So we're going to go ahead and put at least 12 ounces. Let's see here. I went ahead and copped this Drag Specialties 20 weight fork oil. Progressive also makes one, which is what I've used in the past, but this one was a little bit cheaper. So, I mean, oil is oil, I feel, right? So, let's see what we've got in here. PVC spacer, of which we're not going to use. Another PVC spacer. Come on. Damn. See, and they supplied us with these little washers. So you are going to be using some of the washers. For some reason, they don't want to come out. They might be fixed into the box. So let me go ahead and pull them out. And I'm going to go ahead and pull out my forks as well. And we'll get it popping, baby. Alright, so here you could see we've got our main springs and the little helper spring. What I was talking about earlier with the little bolts being bump stops, as you can see, this is where they were hitting. I'll go ahead and zoom it in for you. So right there and right over there, you could see where the bolt was hitting. So basically, for the drop-in kit, these were in the shocks already. So I'm going to go ahead and retain those because I don't really know whether it's supposed to be in there or not, but I'm going to assume that they are. So basically, I'm gonna go ahead after I just pop that piece in. This spring is gonna go in first, and then we're gonna go ahead and put our helper spring on top of it, as well as a washer. Well, we can go ahead and come over here and see, because we don't necessarily need the washer, you know what I mean? I may just run no washer, but I don't want it to become a problem later. But I don't think it can possibly become a problem. So for the maximum drop, I'm not going to run a washer. I'm going to just go ahead and just drop this in. As you could see, drop in suspension kit. And then the helper. See, so as you could see, I mean, it really doesn't have anywhere else to go. So that's as far as that's going to stick out, the little compensator. You know what I mean? So I'm going to go ahead. I got a little over 12 ounces of our 20 weight fork oil. Go ahead and show you from this side so you can see. A little over 12 ounces. I'm going to go ahead and put that in. Once our fork oil is in the fork, we will no longer be able to compress it. So from here, after I pour the oil into it, we're going to have to put it right in and tighten it up. You know what I mean? Once we get it in there and tightened all the way up, then we're going to go ahead and tighten our pinch bolts here. You know what I'm saying? That way our fork can no longer move at that point. And basically do the same to the other side, and then we'll be all good, boys. Straight up drop-in kit. Hopefully a little bit lower than 2 inches, being that I'm not going to run any washers or nothing like that. But it is what it is, you know what I mean? These bikes aren't necessarily intended to be super low, but I mean, as you can see, even if something does happen to the bolts in there, there's like a finger of clearance. So I wonder, yeah, see, you could see up in here, our bolts stick out, you know what I mean? So it really doesn't have nowhere to go. Even if the bolts weren't long enough, I think for some reason this bike would clear just fine. You know what I mean? If the bolts were a little bit shorter. Because as you can see inside of there, the bolts only protrude, you know, maybe like ½ inch at max. You know what I mean? And there was at least a ½ inch, if not more, of clearance from the fender. So we should be solid, boys. Let me get on it. Yeah, so the drop-in kit went in pretty easily. The max capacity, I think like 11.8 ounces of fork fluid is what it calls for, right? But basically, I mean, unless you put the forks in, or let me get this straight. So basically, if you add a little bit of fluid, what I did is basically filled it up, you know what I mean? And then also remember to put your fork stops. That way you don't overturn your bike and be rocking stuff. But see, because now it comes over and it hits that. That one looks like it's going to be like right on the hose, but either way, the other side sounds like it's still hitting my ignition switch, but it is what it is. I'm not going to turn the wheel all the way anyways. But as easy as dropping in the springs, add the oil. It really only fit like 11.8, or like right at 12 is basically all it was. So the plan now that we've got it all the way in there, I tightened up our pinch bolts, you know, so our forks ain't going to go nowhere. Now we've got suspension. But it hopefully does go pretty low. But basically, as you compress the suspension up and down, the oil will feed into the, I don't know exactly what they're called, but like the shock basically portion of the forks. So it should be okay. And quite frankly, however low it is just how low it's going to be, because I'm not going to take this apart again, you know what I mean? But from here, we're going to go ahead and mount up our fender. So as you can see, we've got our blue Loctite on our bolts ready to go. I did shave the fender just a tad bit on the inside, so I'll go ahead and show you that. So I got the fender over here chilling, but we've shaved our bolts here inside just a little bit more, just to verify our clearance is A1. You know what I mean? So other than that, we're going to go ahead and mount up the fender, boys. And then we'll jack the bike up a little bit, put the wheel on, set her down, you know, put the brakes on, after all of that, we basically just got to mount the fairing, and she's ready to boogie, boys. So let me get on it. So one thing that I have learned in this process is that 1 week is simply not enough. So I mean, as you could see, whenever I went to tighten up my bolts here, the paint just like rippled off of these fork lowers. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie to you, it is what it is. You know, I'm not gonna cry about it or whatever. Like I said, it was only like 90 bucks. So without further ado, time to set the bike back down, and we'll see how low she goes, huh? Go ahead and set it up straight. I'm starting to compress now. I got the jack lowering down ever so slowly. I've got a shorter kickstand, so if it does go, you know, terribly low and it doesn't want to stand, then we're gonna have to change the kickstand right now. But basically, I like the shorter kickstand because it'll lean over more, which makes it, you know, just that much more secure whenever. Damn, hopefully that's not it, dude. So far, that's as low as it has gone, which is not terribly low. I'm going to go ahead and kind of like sit on the bike, you know what I mean? Maybe even like roll it and hit the brakes. That way it kind of loads up that front. But, I mean, yeah, that's not low enough, brothers. See if I can... Okay, so that's a little lower now. Still not terribly low. If that's all it goes, I may have to take this thing apart again and pull out those little springs, the helper springs, because that's not cool, you know what I mean? It may or may not go lower once, you know, we get the fork oil in the front end. So let me go ahead and rock it a few times and we'll see what's good. Alright, so she's starting to come back together. For the most part, not terrible. These bolts right here were very difficult to get in due to the fact that the fairing is so tight against the handlebars. If they were back just a hair more, like as you could see, like they are touching, my guy. You know what I mean? Not only are they touching there, but they're also touching here. Maybe kind of hard for you guys to grasp what's going on, but they are definitely on it. So we got everything basically plugged in. The only thing left to do is to grab the fairing and go ahead and slap it on. Probably going to go ahead and zip tie the wiring for the ignition switch due to the fact that it's kind of in the way. Not in the way, but how do I explain it? It's loose because it wasn't initially there. So we got the light bar back on and stuff. We got decent clearance, you know, like 4-finger clearance. So if anything, once I throw the fairing back on, we get everything bolted on. I got the windshield ready to go, you know what I mean? I'm going to go ahead and go for a test ride because after all this, your boy needs it, you know what I mean? And we'll see what's good with it, all right? So she didn't do too bad on her maiden voyage. You know what I mean? Couple of things though. I'm gonna have to upgrade. So as you can see down here, we have the latch, right? For like the quick connect thing. Well, I noticed it was bouncing around a good bit. As you can see, that one done fell off. That's what we get for buying eBay stuff, right? So hopefully I can buy new latches that are of better quality. But other than that, another main issue is our Sony head unit is giving me an output error. So I don't know if that's due to like vibration or hitting bumps, or I've also heard that the power wire is too small to feed it. But otherwise though, it feels way better. The bars do, and it looks better, that's for sure, I'd say. Okay, mommy. Oh yeah, you in the video? But yeah, boys, that's gonna basically do it for this one though. Suspension wise, I wish it would have went a little bit lower. After riding it a little bit, I don't think it did. but it is what it is. You know what I mean? It's pretty comfortable, you know, and it rides real good, so that's cool. But yeah, I mean, I guess we're gonna figure out the rest of these issues as we go. We got some more stuff that we're gonna throw on. So yes sir, boys, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, stay tuned, and I'll catch y'all in the next one, baby. Later.